Good morning, YouTube. This is Cup of Joe with your first 10 minutes. And today I just wanted to share some ideas that I came up with to create my man cave here in Middle Tennessee. It may not float your boat, but for me, everything in here is kind of special and has a memory that will last a whole lot longer than the items that I've collected. So here we go. One of my first hobbies that I picked up once I moved here to Murfreesboro in 2017 was to repurpose old farm tractor grills. So these are some examples of what I did. Some of them I sold, some of them I gave away, and others I kept. So here's just a few examples. This is an Oliver tractor grill. I don't know the dates, probably 1940s, maybe early 50s. I attached the headlights just to give it a little more of a tractor look, but made a shadow box out of it. And what I didn't realize when I first started working on these farm tractor grills is that some of these are pretty rare. That little strip there in the left corner that says Oliver actually was a strip that would have gone right down the middle of the front of that tractor grill. And that strip almost cost me $100, and those are rare to find. So little do you know what you find out when you start doing these types of things. Over in the corner is an old Alice Chambers tractor grill that I repurposed into one of my Tennessee collectibles. Just got a neat little Tennessee flag behind it. Got a little motion detector set up so when I come over here in my Tennessee corner, it will light up for me. So I really like that a lot. I like the color scheme of the Vols when they had that smoky gray uniform and the orange, even though they didn't do so well wind-wise when they were wearing that uniform. And one without a light is another Alice Chambers grill that I kind of repurposed into a Predator's grill. Not much of a hockey fan, but I thought this would be kind of a cool thing to have. Got nice little decals on the side, catfish and whatnot. So did that a few years ago, liked that a lot, decided to keep it. And finally I've got a old Case tractor grill that I repurposed into a nice wall light with a cool American flag behind it. Another couple things that I added besides the tractor grill, this is an old time clock that I found at an antique store. It still works, still punches a card. Just kind of reminded me of the years when I was growing up, working for an hourly wage. You always had a time clock on the wall or somewhere, and you always had to wait for the person in front of you before you could punch your card. This is an old antique gas can that we decided to make a wall light out of. You can tell it's got some age to it. We sanded it off, gave it a nice clear finish, and then cut the bottom out of it. And we've got it suspended from the wall with pipe. And same idea, this is a little larger light. This is a authentic, probably 60s era Phillips 66 5-gallon lubricant can that we actually had to buy this online, had to negotiate to get it, came out of Illinois. Offered to pay shipping, offered to pay several other fees because the lady just didn't want to sell it. But she finally relented and did sell it and sent it on its way. And I cut the bottom out of that, painted it white. Turned out really well. Makes a nice matching set of hanging light cans. My latest addition to the room, my wife's birthday present to me, a little bit early, but we saw it on a recent trip to Lynchburg, was this barrel top Jack Daniels clock. Cool thing, cool, way cool, love it. When I was growing up, my brother and I used to play pinball at the local bowling alley for hours upon hours. He was really good, so we could play basically free. This is a circa 1940s, maybe early 50s. It's a pinball glass back that I bought from a collector. Of course, it is very patriotic. It says "Bomb the Axis rats," and of course the Axis were the enemy in World War II, and so you've got figures of Adolf Hitler there and Emperor Hirohito from Japan, and a cool looking bomber right above it. Got a nice little bar set here. My oldest daughter, Corey, taught me how to put some lights in a nice looking liquor bottle just for an accent. And I got a little mini fridge in the bottom. Sorry for the spin there. I do have lights back there, I just don't have them charged up right now. So one of the things you're probably going to notice is I have a lot of signage in the room. A lot of that I picked up from Etsy. Just think that it gives us kind of a personal look to some of the stuff in here. Won't go over all the things that are in the room because it's pretty full, but I am proud of a few things like this military 1941 Jeep. This is not an ordinary remote control Jeep. This actually has four-wheel drive and can go through water, climb rocks. It's quite a vehicle. I leave it on display. I only take it out a few times a year, but it's a lot of fun. Below that, I have my military filing cabinets, double-decker. Got a picture of my dad in his uniform when he was younger. His military flight wings, parachute wings, name tag, picture of me when I was a little squirt. He took me fishing after he got back from Vietnam, and that's a picture of me fishing with him. And a military field phone that my wife found for me when we were antique hunting. Next to that is my Shinola shoe polish kit. That might not mean much to many people, or maybe any people, but when I was growing up, my family played cards quite a bit. My father was fervent when it came to playing cards. He got serious, and if you made a mistake and you were his partner, you ultimately would get criticized, and his favorite expression would be, "You don't know shit from Shinola." I didn't know what the heck that meant for decades until I finally did a Google search and found out that Shinola was a military shoe polish. So that expression, "shit from Shinola," was a military expression, meaning that you just didn't know a whole lot. On that same landing, I've got an old liquid torch that I turned into a light that I think turned out pretty well as a nice accent light. An old gumball machine, and of course I can't get away from my motorcycle or love of motorcycles, so I've got a replica there, and the cribbage board that my parents played and used for probably 40 years of their marriage, and a picture of them when they were younger. Again, a lot of signage, old antique license plate that I had on an old 66 Mustang, license plates that I've used in the past on motorcycles and cars, some Harley Davidson and gasoline signage. And as I pan over here to this side, this whole room started with this pump. This is an old barrel pump that was converted into a lamp, and I just have a love for things that have been repurposed. So that's the first item that went into this room, and then we just went from there. More die-cast motorcycles. This one I really like a lot. This is a replica of a 1940 Harley Davidson military cycle. Really cool. Got my three-piece patriotic airplane artwork. And then along that same wall, I've got pipe shelving. And on the pipe shelves, I just found some accessories like this old AM wooden radio that still works. And a couple of neat dovetail wooden boxes with military machinery inside of them. Just makes for a cool look. And then finally over in this corner, I've got a little spiritual area. This light stays on constantly to remind me that God is always good, always in my life, never forsakes me, and I just thank him so deeply for all the blessings that he's bestowed upon me each and every day. Got a little plaque in memory of my son. I lost him in 2020. Got some things hanging there that he made for me. One is an old paper tie that he made for me when I went to school with him on Donuts for Dad's Day. And along the bottom, I have an old shoe fitter's stool. And on that stool, I've got my mother's Bible as well as mine. And in the back corner, I've got a replica of Noah's Ark, reminding me that salvation is through the Lord. And finally, a cubit tool. As you know, the ark was built by exact measurements, precise measurements given to Noah from God, and it was all based on a cubit. So that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the quick tour. Hope I didn't bore anybody. If you liked what you saw, or you just want to make a comment, please do so. I appreciate you watching.